old were you, Dad, when you went into...
How old was I? 22.
Oh, 22.
Yeah.
And did you volunteer or were you drafted?
I was drafted.
And where were you working at the time?
Was that?
Where were you working at the time?
I was working in Hull as a line etcher in the engraving trade.
Oh yes, that's
The
what you
printing
did.
trade, but I was a line etcher.
And then you were drafted. You were said, let's go. And then you were drafted.
I was drafted. And I was, before I was drafted, I had to go for what you call an attestation. I went to a place called Doncaster, where there's a race course. Is this recording?
Yes.
I went to Doncaster Racecourse, where I spent 2 days there for attestation, which is literally examination, to see what they could do with you and what it was. On the strength of how well I did, I was allowed to join the Air Force as an air crew trainee. Went back home, and then had to wait. And then it was about 3 months later, they took me in, which was in September 1947.
Oh.
Oh,
you remember the date?
37. Hang on, 47. 44, 40. No, hang on, I'm getting 47. I'm getting this wrong.
You were born in 20...
43. No, sir, no. Hang on.
Yeah, it would be
Would have
47.
said all over again. No, I'd be 8. I was 18. I was 18 years old when I went in. That was it. Yeah, 18 when I went in, yeah. Then I had to go. I was called up and I enlisted, and I went down to London with all the other recruits. Went through a medical again, got injections, etc., etc. Then I was sent to a college in South Wales, at Newport in Monmouthshire, where I had to do a pre-aircrew training, which was a university-type education, because what had happened was, with the Battle of Britain, which is the very beginning of the war, the cream of the educated ones had got wiped out. So there was...
Oh, there was
all the
nobody
ones
there.
who'd had a decent education had gone, so what they were looking for is anybody who was on the borderline that they could push along.
Yes.
So we were pushed along, and we were at the college from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, and we were there on Saturday mornings as well.
Oh my goodness.
So they crammed almost a 3-year down to 6 months. So we did that, and then at the end you took exam. And all I've got for that is a bit of paper which says I did a course. From there, just trying to remember where I went. From there I went to Torquay. I went to Torquay in a place called Seymour Hall, where I spent 2 days answering 3,000 questions. And on the strength of the 3,000 questions, they decided I could move further on again. But of the group of us of 50, only 7 of us could go ahead with aircrew, and the rest had got to go and find other jobs somewhere else.
Oh wow.
So that we got as far as that.
Yeah. You were one of the 7.
And one of the 7,
Yeah.
of which only one was a pilot.
Did you want to be a pilot?
No, I didn't want to be a pilot. I wanted to be a navigator. But anyway, you put down PNB, which is Pilot Navigator Bomb Aimer. Anyway, 3 of us finished as air gunners. One was a wireless operator, and one was a pilot, I think. Well, I can't think what the others were. But that's really what they were. From then we went to Bridgnorth, which is in the Midlands, not far from Wolverhampton. And that was a holding unit ready for going off to different courses. Well, what we did then, they shipped us off to split us all up, and we went to different airfields to be on airfields, getting to the feel of it, shall we say. And we just shuffled around, something rotten with that. We just here, there, and everywhere. I went to maintenance units which were no more than big warehouses, gigantic warehouses covering miles and miles, and everything to do with aircraft and aircraft parts and things, you see. That was 16MU at Stafford. Got moved there on my own. I was moved to Swannington in Norfolk. And it was an airfield there. And it was where they used to bring mosquitoes in.
Mosquitoes,
and
what?
fly them out again.
What are they? Those
aircraft.
Oh, wow.
All wooden aircraft, but really fantastic aircraft.
Wooden? They were wooden?
Hmm?
They were wooden aircraft?
What?
You said they were wooden?
Wooden aircraft, yeah.
Oh.
And we were seeing women pilots, especially old ladies. You could not believe seeing an aircraft come over and they do a roll. And then she come. And then when she get out, you think, oh my God.
It was a woman.
And I remember once she came to the mess and she says, there's life in the old dog yet. And somebody says, oh, you're not that old. She said, don't talk about me, I'm talking about the aircraft. And that's how it went on. And then finally, I went to the Isle of Man, to Andreas, an airfield on the Isle of Man, and that's where I started to do my flying training. And I did my flying training there. Some of it was very good, some of it was bad. I did one exercise. This was air gunnery training when we used to go with other aircraft. They would be either pulling a drogue, a long sleeve, 20 foot long, and we had to shoot at it.
Oh, yeah.
And the bullets that were being fired had all got, you could say, like lipstick on the end of them.
So they could see
but different coloured lipstick. You'd shoot so many hundreds of rounds, then the next pupil would go in, and he'd be in the next lot of cartridges with a different colour.
Yeah,
then they used to ditch the drogue over the airfield, pick it up, collect it, then somebody had got to go and count. Count all those and divide by 2 from where it went in and where it came out again, you see.
Wow.
But then you used to do others where you would have a camera in your gun. There'd be a camera in the gun, you see, doing so that. And I did I did exceptionally well. It was almost unknown. We were doing what we call corkscrews, where if the fighter was attacking you, if he was coming from up here, you would turn in towards him, but then go down so he could really accelerate. So you'd go down, and then he'd chase you down. But just as he's lining up on you again, you would then nose up, and as soon as you said the cam, then you'd bank and go the other way. So you port starboard up down, port starboard up down. So you were literally corkscrewing, you see.
Yeah.
And I got 98%.
Oh, wow.
When I looked at it afterwards, my ring and bead, that's it. The ring and bead, which is the equivalent to the gun sight, it was stuck on this Spitfire. Wherever we went, I'd got it really nailed on his nose. Wherever he went, I'd got him, and I got 98%. Normally, if you were getting 15s and 20%, you were
good.
You cast as because you only had to hit him once and you got him. But
so that was a practice Spitfire as well with the lipstick.
No, the lipstick that was a Harvard pulling the drogue.
Yeah.
Because that was the other joke we used to have, where if you were firing and you were a bit reckless, you see, they used to joke. They said, I'm pulling this bloody thing, not pushing it. Which is really risky. There's the aircraft there, but you're not shooting the tip, you're going to shoot at that. Yeah.
Wow.
And then, as a part of an adventure, we were running late on the coast. We were constantly having problem with the aircraft being unserviceable. We'd get up, and what we used to call was a mag drop on the engine. There's a mag drop, so back we'd come. And they were getting concerned that we were running a bit late. So one time we were up, and the pilot, who was in this case he was a flying officer Curry, he said, we're going to dump the ammunition and crack on, we've done it. So he told the chap the pupil who was in the rear turret at the time, to pull the ammunition because you could have a servo feed where you pull the trigger and that would sort of feed the machine through. You feed it through, then break the clip on it out the rear window. Do you see? The trouble was this was falling on the beach at Douglas. We thought we were over the sea, but we're so busy so busy unpicking this stuff, ammunition. We hadn't realised we were combing shore, you see, and it was falling on the beach. So
did they find it?
Oh, they found it, but then they couldn't prove which aircraft it went because you're up there, they're down here, you see. But anyway, we got through the course. I passed my course. Then I was presented with my air gunner's badge. You see. Then we were shipped up yet again. This time. I came to Market Harbour actually. I'm trying to think what the hell I was doing at Market Harbour because I only spent the night there. I only spent one night at Market Harbour. What did I do in there? What did I come there?
Maybe passing through onto the next place.
Then we went from there to near Hunstanton to Bertram Newton. We went to Bertram Newton. We were only about 3 days at Bertram Newton. Didn't do anything there, just was there. I fell into a ditch at Bertram Newton trying to catch an apple. Got a thorn in my hand. My arm swelled up.
That's not good for an air gunner. That's not good for an air gunner.
Anyway, my fingers. And when I was posted to Pembrey in South Wales. And while I was in London, my fingers swelled up badly, and it was all up here. My arm was like a balloon. And I was in London at St Pancras, no, it was Paddington, waiting to get on the train. That's the blue car then, yeah. Waiting to